we're going to get started in, organizing myself. We're going to get started in child's pose. So let's do that. If you like to have the extra padding for your knees, go ahead and lay your blanket down. I'm going to start with extended child's pose. So bringing your big toes together, widen your knees, and then sit back towards your heels. Totally fine if your hips stay lifted up. If they don't want to go back today, that's cool. Do what you can here. And then start to walk your hands forward and lower your forehead towards the floor. So maybe right away you start to use a block and you rest your forehead here. If you don't have any makeshift blocks handy, you can always use your arms. You can stack fists. Or maybe this is where you use your blanket. So basically you want to make sure your forehead is resting on something to help relax your neck. So go ahead and take a moment to set yourself up, coming into child's pose. Bring your big toes together, widen your knees, hips back, walk your hands forward, and rest your forehead down. Allow it to make contact with something, anything, doesn't matter what. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Deep breath in and a full breath out. You do that 2 more times, but this time exhale through your mouth, making a ha sound. So deep breath in. Beautiful. And then take note of your state of your mind as you get started here. Set aside anything you don't need for this time of practice. And I invite you to set an intention today. If you'd like to use it, I'm going to offer you a mantra. So a mantra is something that you repeat to yourself. You can do it with your breath. You can do it with each breath. You can do it with each inhale, each exhale. You can do the entire mantra through an entire inhale and exhale. So it's kind of however you sync up to it. So this mantra that I'm going to offer you today is go with the flow. And by this, I want you to acknowledge the energy that's in your body. Notice where it's flowing, how it's flowing. Notice areas where it might not be flowing quite so much. And allowing yourself to practice in a way that is nurturing for this energy and not forcing anything. If there's anything else that's resonating with you today, you can totally set that as your intention instead. Just like everything I offer you during this time, it's just that, it's an offering. Take another breath in and another breath out. If you have anything underneath your forehead, go ahead and move it out of the way. Start to walk your hands under your shoulders. Lift your torso up so it's parallel with the floor. Keep your knees and your toes right where they are. So a little different from normal. We'll take a spinal warm-up from here today. With an inhale, reach your heart forward, bring your chest between your biceps. You're going to lift up your tailbone, arch your back, coming into a cow pose variant. With an exhale, lift your spine towards the ceiling, tuck your tailbone in and under, let your head dangle down, ears come towards your biceps, coming into that cat variant. Inhale for cow, arching your back. Exhale for cat, rounding your back. Now go between these two movements if it feels good to you, and try to move with each breath. Using your inhales to open and expand your chest. Using your exhales to contract your abdomen. Take one more round and come back to neutral table. From here, inhale, stretch your left arm to the side or up. Exhale, thread your left arm under your right, drop your shoulder down, followed by your head. So coming into a thread the needle variation. You can keep this right hand right under your shoulder. Maybe you walk it forward, similar to child's pose. You can do palm down, palm up. You can even wrap your hand behind your back if you want to work towards opening your chest a little bit more. Or again, it can just stay right where it was. With your next inhale, press into your right hand. Make sure it's back under your shoulder. And then press into it. Lift your torso up. Big counter twist back up towards the ceiling. And exhale, float your left hand down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So planting your left hand down, inhale, stretch your right arm out or up, whatever feels good to you. Make sure you're not wiggling your hips around. Exhale, thread the needle. Right arm under left, relax your head down. And whatever feels good on this side with this left arm, it may be different from the first side. That's totally fine. As you come into each pose, notice what you need in that moment. Getting ready to come out of your twist, bring your left hand back under your shoulder. Inhale, press firmly, lift your torso up, counter twist, and exhale, float your hand down. Let's inhale for another cow, exhale for cat, and inhale back to neutral. All right, so we're gonna come into a regular tabletop. Now bring your knees underneath your hips. I'm gonna move my blanket out of the way. You're totally welcome to keep yours here if you have it down. So wrists are right under shoulders just as before, knees are right under hips. With an inhale, you're going to stretch your right leg back, toes down, press through your heel, rock forward and backwards a little bit. And then come to stillness. And then try lifting your heel up in line with your hip, coming into a balance. Notice if you shift your weight over to the left side, come on back to center. Keep your toes turned down towards the floor. You don't want to lift up that right hip. So hips are even. Your body is still centered as best as you can. Press through your heel, reach through the crown of your head, super long line of energy. And then extend your left arm out as if you're trying to shake someone's hand. Make sure you're not starting to sink into your shoulders. Keep it strong. Keep pressing through that right hand. Navel towards your spine. Don't dip your belly. You can stay right where you are or start to bend into your right knee. Reach back with your left hand. Make connection. Maybe you grab your foot, your ankle. Maybe you use your strap and lasso yourself here. Making your arm a little longer. Always an option. Allow your left shoulder to roll onto your back. See if you can lift your heart forward just a little bit more. And really press your right foot into your hand. One more breath here. Inhale, extend, and exhale, release. Go ahead and I like to shake my hips from side to side. If there's any other little movements you'd like to do here, go for it before we hop into the other side. All right, coming back to center, getting ready for the other side. Inhale, stretch your left leg behind you, toes down. Start to find a little movement. Wake up your calf, your ankle, your toes. And then coming back to stillness. Try lifting your heel up in line with your hip. Again, checking in with your hip bones, making sure they're parallel with each other, that left hip isn't lifted. So turning your toes down towards the floor, finding that slight internal rotation of your hip can help. Checking in with your lower back, keep it protected, draw your navel towards your spine, make sure you're not drooping your belly. Notice if you've shifted your weight over to the right, come on back to center. Option to extend that right arm out as if you're shaking someone's hand. Reach through your fingertips, press through your heel. You can stay right where you are, or maybe start to bend that left knee, reach back with your right hand, grab whatever you can, push your foot into your hand, or if you're using your strap, push into your strap. Allow that right shoulder to roll back, your heart reaches forward, your gaze comes forward a little more. Inhale, stretch out long, and exhale, release. Go ahead and take a child's pose. This time, I invite you to bring your hands back by your feet. And again, allow your forehead to make connection with something. Allow your shoulder blades to fall away from each other. So the fronts of your shoulders kind of melt towards the floor. We'll take a couple breaths here. So notice the pace of your breath, the depth of your breath. Notice if you still got that mantra, if you were using it, if you still have your intention. Take 2 more breaths here. With your third breath, bring your hands under your shoulders, lift your torso up, bump your hips to either side, and swing your feet forward. So finding your way into a staff pose. Your legs are active, toes are flexed back towards your knees, your shoulders are above your hips, and your hands rest beside your hips. So it's kind of like you are leaning back against a wall. You're always welcome to actually do it against a wall too. Take 2 more breaths here. Sit as tall as you can. As you reach the crown of your head up, notice how your sits bones press into the ground beneath you. Flutter your eyes open if they are closed. Bend into your left knee. You can keep your left foot right where it is. If it's comfortable for you, hop your foot on the outside of your right leg. Keep the right leg long, keep your toes flexed. Inhale to sit tall. Exhale, turn to the left. You can always bring the ground closer using one of your blocks here. You want to keep your spine in a straight line, shoulders even, chin parallel with the floor. You can hug into this left thigh, you can hook your elbow, whatever feels good to you. With each inhale, sit a little taller. With each exhale, maybe you can take a peek back just a little bit further. With your next inhale, untwist. If your foot is hopped, bring it on back. And before we go to the other side, we're going to take a little stretch for the back side of your right leg. So allow this knee to fall out to the side. Draw the sole of your foot up into your right thigh. Square up towards this right leg. Blah, sorry. We don't know our left and our right. So you can use your strap here. If you like that little extra support, go ahead and lasso your foot. Inhale to sit tall. Exhale, slowly lean forward. Go as far as you can with a flat back. And then gently round your upper back. So you want to prevent crunching into your folds anytime you come into a forward fold. So keep some space between your chin and your chest. Use inhales to draw your chest away from your navel. Keep a little micro bend in the right knee. You don't want to lock your knee out. It's super unsafe. One more big breath in, and a full breath out. With your inhale, use your hands for support, walk them back towards your body, come up right, stretch your left leg out, and we'll go to the other side. So this time bending into your right knee, hop your foot over if you'd like, keep the left leg long. Inhale to sit tall, exhale, take a turn to the right. Same options as the other side. Maybe you hug your thigh, maybe you hook your elbow. You can have a hand on the floor. You can use your block. Yoga is all about choosing your own adventure. taking things your way as you need them, knowing that anytime you're guided through a practice, we are just here to give suggestions about what you could do today. With your next inhale, go ahead and untwist, unhop your leg, and let your knee fall open. Keep those left toes flexed, score up towards your left leg. Inhale for length, exhale, hinge forward. Again, you can use your strap here if you like support. Maybe your fold is not very far at all today. Maybe you're just barely leaning forward. That's okay too, man. Just do what feels good to you. Remember to keep that space in the front side of your body, not to crunch into your fold. Remember to keep breathing. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Your breath is what helps move the energy through your body. Next inhale, walk your hands back towards your body, lift yourself up. Stretch that right leg out, shake it out, slap it out, whatever feels good to you. And then find your way back into tabletop, however you would like to get there. And then have two of your blocks within reach, just in case you decide to use them. From here, you're going to inhale, stretch that right leg back again. This time, point your toes. Make sure you're not drooping through your belly. Exhale, big step forward in between your hands. So if your foot doesn't get all the way up there, do what you got to do to get it up there. You want to bring your ankle under your knee. So from here, it might feel good to bring the ground a little closer to lift up. So if you bend forward and you round, you're not getting as much benefit from the posture as if you can find length in your spine. It also affects your breathing and that whole movement of energy thing. And then you want to feel some sensation of stretch. So if you don't really feel anything in your left hip flexor, try scooting that left knee back a little bit. You can use your blocks however you'd like. You can come more upright if that's what you prefer. If you want to try to go a little deeper into this pose, you can try sliding that knee back so you go down. We all have different edges, so it's totally okay if you look so different from me right now. It may not even look like the same pose. That doesn't matter. Good, now that those hips are woken up a little bit more, we're going to use an exhale to shift back into half splits, which are not super scary. They sound scary, but they're not. So the way that works is you can bring your props back so that they're ready for you. You're going to straighten your right leg, lift your toes up off the mat. If you need to scoot your heel away so you can lengthen your leg, you can. I have pretty open hamstrings, so I can lengthen my leg a lot. If you don't, keep somewhat of a bend in your knee. We're going to start upright, so bring your shoulders above your hips. For a little balance support, you can always use your blocks here. So whatever version you're in, try to keep your foot flexed. Try to keep your spine long. If you're ready for more, you can start to hinge your chest forward. Maybe bringing your blocks in line with your right knee, using them for support. Maybe even coming down to your hands. Whatever feels right to you. Take a few moments, explore. One more big breath in, and a full breath out. And we're going to start to flow in between these two poses. So inhale, find your way back into your modified low lunge. So you may have to adjust that heel. And then exhale, you're going to straighten your leg, come back into your half splits. Inhale, come forward to your lunge. Exhale to your half splits. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, come back. And go back and forth a few more times, using your own breath, using your own version of how these two poses can feel good in your body. Let's take one more half split and meet me in your modified lunge. Good. So from here, you're going to tuck your left toes under and lift your knee. So we're no longer modified. If you prefer to stay down on your knee, that's totally cool. Go for it. So if you do lift your knee up, think about lifting up through the back of your knee so your leg is long. Press through your heel, but again, don't walk out your knee. Coming into a revolved lunge, you can keep your left hand on the floor or use your friend the block. Inhale, reach that right arm up towards the ceiling. Maybe your gaze follows. Maybe your gaze stays down on the floor. Maybe you're looking somewhere in between. Take another big breath in and out. With your next exhale, float your right hand down to the floor, lower your left knee back down, and make your way back to your tabletop. Again, any little movements that feel good to you here. Maybe it's moving your spine, moving your hips. Maybe you're ready to throw yourself back into one of these guys, finding your way into a child's pose. That child's pose is always an option, always on the table. And when you are ready, make your way back to tabletop. We'll get ready for that other side. From your tabletop, inhale, stretch the left leg back, point the toe. Exhale, big step forward in between your hands. Again, do what you got to do to get that ankle underneath your knee. And then adjust the back knee as needed. Remember, your blocks are here for you. Make your spine as long as you can. Keep in mind that your neck is an extension of your spine. So when you lengthen your spine, you're also lengthening your neck. When you're looking forward, you are extending your neck and arching it. When you're looking down or pressing your chin towards your chest, you're crunching it, you're flexing it. So you want to try to keep your neck in a neutral position. Alrighty, getting ready for that not so scary half split on the other side. This side may look and feel different from the first side. Take it how you need it. When you're ready, use an exhale, start to straighten out that left leg, lift your toes. Try coming upright first and setting up your stable base. So making sure your heel is down, you can find where your knee should be, whether you should have more bend, less bend, making sure it's not locked. So you want to make sure your poses are stable before you get moving through them. And a nice grounded base. Going to help support you through the rest of the posture. And if you're ready for a little more, maybe you start to hinge. Again, blocks, no blocks, whatever your jam is today, go for it. Remember, you're keeping your spine long. Come back to your state of mind. Notice where your thoughts are. If you've wandered off with them, come on back. Join us. Join your practice right here on your mat. That's where having a mantra can be helpful. Now starting to flow between the two poses. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, going back. So using the mantra to stay present. If you notice your mind wandering off, you can start the repetition of the mantra. And your breath is another good way to help keep you present, especially if you're wandering off with your thoughts. So noticing all of the qualities of your breath, using all of your senses to take in the sensations of your breath. and more back into your half split and meet in that low lunge. Getting ready to lift that knee up if you'd like. Tuck your toes, lift it on up. Plant your right hand down this time. Inhale, open up the left arm. One more big breath in. Exhale, float your left hand down to the floor. Instead of tabletop this time, just take a big step back into your downward facing dog. So if you have to take more than one step back, go ahead and get there. And then find some organic movement here, maybe pedaling through your feet, maybe lifting and lowering at the same time, bending through your knees. Some Shakti waves, whatever your body needs right now. And then meet me back in stillness in your downward facing dog. Using an inhale, gaze forward. Take as many steps as you need to get your feet up behind your hands. And then you're going to grab opposite elbows. Bend your knees so much your belly rests on your thighs. And let your head dangle down. Coming into ragdoll. You can be still here. Find a little more movement. Whatever feels good to you. Coming back to stillness. If you're moving around, release your elbows. Using an inhale, slowly, slowly, slowly roll your spine up. Come on up to mountain pose. Stand tall. Close your eyes. Bring your heels underneath your hips if they don't feel like they're already there. Rest your hands beside your thighs. Allow your shoulders to roll onto your back. Go ahead and flutter your eyes open. We're going to get ready for some balance. If you have your strap nearby, I recommend strapping it around your neck so it's available for use. You may not use it. You may really want to use it. Totally up to you. From here, ground through your feet. Shift your weight into your left foot. Lift your right foot up in front of you. So it's as if you're taking a big step, bringing your right knee in front of your hip. Your right foot is flexed, it's not just lazy. Really press through your left foot, see if you can make yourself a little taller. Good, a couple options here. If this is where you want to stay, just bang on one foot, that's cool. Maybe you want to kickstand, that's cool too. And I'm going to just give a whole bunch of options. Practice where you feel good, what you need today. So option one is going to be just to interlace your fingers around your knee. Bring your thigh in towards your belly just a little bit. Option two is going to be to go for your foot either with your hands or with your strap. Straps are really good at making your arms longer. You're working towards straightening out your right leg without locking out your knee. See if you can lift it up and see if you can use more of your core muscles to create this lift rather than pulling with your arms. Good. So again, option to stay put or start to revolve your hand to big toe pose. Start to twist to the right with your exhale. Maybe even extending your right hand back, maybe even looking back. Hold here for 2 more breaths wherever you are. And then unraveling to some extent. If you're looking back, start to gaze forward. let go of your foot, whether you have your strap or your hand, and you're going to try to bring your right foot into your right hand without setting it down onto the floor. So grab onto your ankle, your foot, whatever you can reach. Keep this left arm extended. See if you can lift your right knee up, hinge forward, coming into dancer pose. Take 2 more breaths, practicing wherever you are. And when you're ready, inhale, come back up. Try to bring that knee back in front of you. See if you can lift your hands overhead this time. And exhale, release. Ooh, let's give that left foot ankle some love. Swirl it out, shake it out. Pretend you're flicking mud off your toes. It feels good. And then come back to your mountain pose. And we'll do the other side. Start to shift your weight into your right foot. And then lift your left knee up in front of your hip like you're taking that big step. Just like in any of our poses, there may be one side that's more or less accessible, and it may not be the same side every day. All right, so here come your options. Bending your knee, hugging your thigh in towards your abdomen. Taking hold of your foot, extending your leg out. Revolving. Stay right where you are for 2 more breaths if you can. And then when you're ready, gently untwist, turning your hand forward, head forward, letting go of your foot, bringing it back to the left hand. Sorry, that was all sorts of messy. So, right arm is still forward, left foot found its way to your left hand, push your foot into your hand, lift your knee, hinge from your hips, coming into dancer on the other side. It's so much easier when you're teaching classes in person. We don't have to talk and do at the same time. We can do one and then the other. Especially when it gets to your balance poses. So take 2 more breaths right where you are. Let's bring your knee forward. See if you can bring both arms overhead. And exhale, put it down. Go ahead and give your right ankle some love. Maybe shake it out. And then we're going to get ready to go down, but we're going to do a little more balance to get there. So come up on the balls of your feet. Extend your arms out in front of you. Using your exhale, slowly start to sit down. Try not to hinge from your hips and turn your chest towards the floor. And eventually, go ahead and have a seat. Stretch your legs out long. All right. Have your strap and your blocks handy. Keep your right leg extended. We'll start with the other side so you can see a little better. Keep your left leg extended. You're going to tuck your right foot in by your hip, toes pointed backwards. If your toes are turning sideways, you may put a little extra pressure into your knee and your ankle, and it probably won't feel good. So what if you can't get your foot back like that? Well, we got blankets, we got blocks, we got all sorts of props. So in addition to if your foot doesn't go straight back, also check in with your hips. Notice if they're even. If you're kind of leaning over to the side, favoring one side, that's a good indication that it's a good idea to use a prop. So go ahead and lift up your seat. Give yourself more space. So keeping your left toes flexed, you can stay right where you are, or you can start to lean backwards a little bit. Maybe you go back even further. Maybe you go all the way onto your back. So again, option to use the blocks, not use the blocks, whatever you would like. Whatever feels right to you in this moment. Come into the shape that your body needs. Take a moment not only to tune into your breath, but to tune into the way your energy is flowing through your body. Noticing areas where there's a lot of movement, a lot of opening, maybe areas where there's still congestion, feels a little more stuck. And as you make these observations, try not to place any judgment on them. Just notice them as they are. Take one more big breath in, and a full breath out. And slowly starting to come out of the pose. If you're on your back, come up to your elbows first. If you're on your elbows, come up to your hands. Then from your hands, come all the way upright. Keep this foot tucked in. Now we're going to fold forward. This is going to be a bit more intense than the first time we did it, especially if your hips are elevated. So don't worry about how far you folded the first time we came into one of these things. So you're going to square your navel up with your left knee. Inhale, sit tall, stretch your arms overhead. Exhale, lean forward, bow your forehead towards your shin, even if they totally don't meet. And again, this may be where you use your strap. Maybe have that extra support. Be mindful of the bend in your left knee. You can make it as generous as you need it to be. With your next inhale, walk your hands towards your body, come upright. And you're going to bend your left knee. And we're going to untuck the right leg. And we're going to thread the right leg underneath. So your right heel is up by your left hip now. And from here, you're going to step your left foot on the outside of your right knee. If this doesn't feel good to you, you can stretch that right leg back out, similar to how we started in the beginning. Take a deep breath in, sit tall, exhale, twist to the left. Very, very similar to the twist we took in the beginning of practice. With your next inhale, untwist, bring your torso forward, and hop your left foot back in front of your left hip. Grab your strap if you'd like, and then either lasso your foot or hold on to the sole of your foot. Make sure you stay sitting up tall, and bring your shin up so your calf is parallel with the floor. So if you're kind of hunching, crunching, leaning forward, make those arms a little longer. Use your props. This is where you are today. That's totally fine. If you'd like to add a little more, try extending your leg. So again, remember you're sitting up tall. Inhale, reach the crown of your head towards the ceiling. Exhale, feel your sits bones ground into the mat beneath you. You can stay right where you are, or bring your right hand to the outside edge of your left foot. Inhale to sit tall. Exhale, twist open to the left. Similar to when we were standing in our balance, the revolved big toe pose. Then your gaze can be wherever it's comfortable. if you're using your strap, just hold onto the strap in your right hand. You can still play with the twist if you'd like. Another inhale, untwist. Exhale, release. Stretch your leg out. Uncross the other leg, slap them both out. And we'll go to the other side, so tucking your left foot in by your left hip. Decide if a prop underneath your sits bones could be beneficial for you. Again, it doesn't have to be the same thing that you did on the first side. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, lean back a little bit if you'd like. And same options as the other side, props, no props, sitting upright, all the way down to the floor, anywhere in between. Take your body where it wants to go. That mental check once again. Noticing your presence, your ability to be here, knowing there's nowhere else to be right now. You're exactly where you need to be. And when you're ready, starting to come out of this pose just as gently as you came into it. If you're on your back, come to your elbows. And then your hands. And then upright. Getting ready for that fold forward. Square up towards your right leg. Inhale, sit tall. Lift your arms overhead. Exhale, melt forward. And using your strap if you'd like. Whatever makes this pose feel right to you. With your next inhale, walk your hands back towards your body, lift your torso upright. You're going to bend into that right knee, untuck your left leg, and thread it underneath. So your left heel is up by your right hip. Then you're going to walk your right heel over by your left knee. On the outside, if you can. Remember, you can always straighten out this left leg if that feels if that feels better to you right now. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, turn to the right. With your next inhale, untwist. You're going to bring your right foot back in front of your right hip. And then grabbing onto the sole of your right foot, lift your heel up, bring your calf parallel with the floor. Make sure you're sitting nice and tall. Option to stay where you are or try straightening out that right leg. And our last option to take the twist, bringing your left hand on the outside of your foot. Inhale deeply, exhale, rotate. inhale, untwist if you have twisted. Exhale, bend your knee, release your foot down, untuck your left leg, stretch your legs out long, shake them out, slap them out, and we'll come into a bound angle. So bound angle pose. Bring the soles of your feet together. Allow your knees to come wide. If this is too much, you can always put blocks underneath your thighs or your knees. You can sit on a blanket. If elevating your hips feels good, you can bring your feet in as close to your body or as far away as you would like. Inhale here. Exhale, lean your chest forward. Bring your hands to your feet, your calves, whatever's comfy for you. Deep breath in and full breath out. With your next inhale, bring your torso back upright. Bring your hands to the outsides of your knees, bring them together. If you are seated on a blanket or any other props here, you're going to want to move them out of your way. And we had so much fun in that dancing Shiva, stretching out one leg at a time. Let's play with stretching both legs out and come into a little balancing bear. So you want to bring your sit bones to the mat, kind of shimmy your weight around. Make sure you're not leaning into your tailbone. So just like when we got ready to do that heron, where one leg was tucked under and we straightened out, we're going to get ready to do that with two legs. So if you need two straps here, take a moment, lasso your feet, and get ready. So finding that balance on your sit bones, try lifting your feet off the floor just a little bit. Try extending both legs up. Now try opening your feet away from each other. Good. So you can do this with your straps too. Make sure you're not starting to round your back and roll back. Stay tall in your spine. Breathe. Two more breaths here. There we go, right back to that bound angle. Bring your feet to the floor, soles of the feet together, knees wide, hinge forward. Next inhale, lift your torso back up, nice, slow, gentle. Go ahead and put your strap off to the side. We'll be done with that. Grab your blocks, have a blanket handy, and meet me on your back with your knees bent still. You're going to set up for a supported bridge. So if you can, walk your heels underneath your knees. You're going to press your feet into the mat, lift your hips up, slide a block underneath your sacrum. So if your block is too far down your spine, you may kind of feel like your butt is reaching towards the floor. If it's too high up your spine, it may feel uncomfortable in your mid-back. So bring it down to the sacrum, allowing your weight to rest there. And if you'd like, you can add a little bit more height. I like to offer using two blocks instead of standing them up taller because that's not super stable. So if you do have more accessibility and this may be what's right for you today, you can lift those heels one more time, slide a second block. You may need to adjust them a little bit so that your sacrum is what's touching the ground. So option to stay right where you are, or you can start to walk your feet towards the edge of your mat, straight out in front. Allow your legs to grow long. Maybe your feet fall away from each other. And then maybe you stretch your arms overhead. Take up some space here. Take 2 more breaths. In through your nose and out through your nose. And with your 3rd breath, if your legs are extended, bring your feet back underneath your knees. If your arms are extended, bring them back down by your hips. Press your feet into the mat, lift your hips up off your block, move your block out of the way. Hug your knees towards your chest. You can rock from side to side here, maybe drawing circles with your knees feels good. Coming back to stillness, lower your feet to the floor. If you'd like to put that blanket underneath your head as a pillow now, you can. Walk your feet out towards the edges of your mat. Let your knees fall together. And rest your arms wherever it's comfortable, whether it's out wide, hands by your hips, overhead again. Inhale here and exhale, let your knees fall over to the right. So your legs are staggered rather than stacked. Try to keep that left hip down on the floor. It's going to try to pop up on you. Inhale, come back to center. Both knees point towards the ceiling. Exhale, over to the left. Right hip stays down this time. Inhale, back up. Exhale, over to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. And go through one more time. Once you return to center after that final round, hug your knees towards your chest one more time. Give yourself a squeeze, curl into a little yogi ball. And then release. Extend your legs out long. Let your feet fall away from each other. Rest your arms beside you, palms up. Allow your breath to return to normal. Close your eyes. Take a scan of your physical body, noticing any tension. Relax your toes, your fingers and ankles, your toes, your fingers. Relax your feet and your hands. Relax your legs and your arms. Relax your abdomen, chest, and back. Relax your neck and your head. If there's any area of your body not relaxed right now, inhale, send your awareness, your energy, your prana there. Exhale, encourage it to relax and let go. Then relax your mind, noticing any thoughts or feelings bubbling around in your head. If you find anything you don't need to take with you today, inhale just to notice it's there. And exhale, encourage it to move on and let go. Allow yourself to lie here still and relaxed in body and mind for just a few more moments. Start to bring your awareness back to your mat. Start to bring your awareness back to your body. Bring some gentle movement to your body. Wiggle your toes, fingers, ankles, and wrists. Rock your head from side to side, stretch your arms out long. Give your body whatever gentle movements it needs to help reawaken. When you're ready, hug your thighs towards your belly. Give yourself one more squeeze here, and then roll over into the fetal position on the right side of your body. Gently press yourself upright and come to a comfortable seat. Sitting with a tall spine. Inhale to lift your arms overhead. Exhale, palms together and down to your heart. Inhale, lift the corners of your mouth and smile. Thank yourselves for stepping on your mat today and spending a little extra time, energy, and love on you. Namaste.